Donald Trump will return to the White House after winning Tuesday's presidential race. He will be returning as the 47th elected president of the United States of America, 4 years after his defeat by Joe Biden. In the keenly contested presidential election, Trump pulled a total of 294 electoral college votes, while Harris had a total of 223 electoral college votes. The defeat of Vice President Kamala Harris marks the second time in 8 years that a woman became the Democratic Party's presidential nominee, only to fall short of a barrier-breaking victory. However, some experts who do not align with Trump's ideologies have warned during the campaign that Trump, if taken at his word, is gearing up to lead a loyalist-filled authoritarian administration intent on revenge. Notwithstanding, as with Ukraine, Trump has promised to bring peace to the Middle East, implying he will end the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza and the Israel-Hezbollah war in Lebanon, but has not said how. He has repeatedly said that if he had been in power rather than Joe Biden, Hamas would not have attacked Israel because of his maximum pressure policy on Iran, which funds the group. Joining us now on this morning show are two supporters of President Donald Trump. Magnus Onyibe, founder, CEO at Inspire Group, a public policy analyst, author, and 2 times Commissioner for Information in Delta State. He will be joined by Honorable Izuwa Agbonayima, an APC chieftain and a former House chairman, U.S.-Nigerian Parliamentary Relations for the House of Representatives during the 8th session. Good morning, Magnus Onyibe. Good to have you on the program.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, a few days ago when I met you, on the day of the election, you were rooting for Trump. I think it was you and Pastor Dr. Jelabi, 2 of you, saying Trump will win. Trump is good for the world. Well, he has won now. So you seem to have been vindicated, even if you didn't vote in that election. But why Trump? What does this triumph mean for the world? What does it mean specifically for Africa? Do you have the possibility, are you considering the possibility that Trump could in fact disappoint those of you in Nigeria here who are supporting him? And, you know, I don't know whether you have you are part of the Ashwebi crowd that has now emerged in Nigeria.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Everything you said about Trump and the emergence of his reenactment as the President of America, it's well taken. As you said, we discussed it at the forum a couple of days ago, and I was very bullish about Trump returning as president for the simple fact that America is such a country that exhibits extreme tendencies. And it's time for things to change. If you recall, as Francis Fukuyama said, he wrote in his book, there's going to be a change order in the way politics is run, democracy is operated across the world. I believe that Trump is that change. He has come to drain the swamp, as a lot of politicians have been saying in Washington. Things are going to be done differently, you know. But the people who have been resisting Trump are the traditional people who have been in charge since the U.S. was founded, and they created all sorts of obstacles on his path back to the White House. But we were very consistent that he was going to make it because based on information we're getting from think tanks, from American think tanks, it was clear that Americans wanted Trump back. And if you ask me, you know, what has just happened is a reaffirmation of Trump's claim in 2020 that he was rigged out. You may not agree with him, but he has just proven to the world that he was actually the person that Americans want. You know, but one thing I was going to point out the last time was that it usually takes a natural or human disaster to happen in America for a change of government to actually occur. You know, like hurricane, or like COVID, or war, But in the case of Trump was taken out by COVID, so to speak, in 2020. And Trump has also...
And it was rigged out at the same time. It was taken out by COVID and it was rigged out at the same time.
Many factors can happen. Many factors, a combination of a lot. It doesn't have to be one. So it's when you're narrow, you just look at one. There are many. A combination of factors can lead to something. So COVID is one, rigging is another. But if you say it was taken out by one, it means you're just being narrow-minded. There's a combination, a cocktail of things can happen for something to happen. So he was taken out, and now, if you ask me, he has proven that he was taken out wrongly. 2 disasters happened back to back in the US during this election, the hurricanes. Fortunately, Biden and co managed this so well that it did not actually crystallize as being irresponsible and not being managed very well, as Trump tried to portray it, and that happened. But, there are forces behind Trump here and there, and he was speaking to the people. As has been proven, the people who voted for Trump are the rural people in the homelands, whatever. They believed in his policies. As human beings, we're protectionists. Okay, so Trump's issue about immigration was resonating with them. That's one. 2, kitchen table issues. People want more food. They're not getting it. They have home issues, and stuff like that. These are things that resonated with them. So the Harris issue about he's going to kill democracy, is danger to democracy, it didn't work. They didn't see how that made any sense. You have to eat, first of all. You have to have shelter over your head before you can think of who is going to kill democracy or not. In fact, it's even the Democrats, the DNC, that was killing democracy because they chased away Robert Kennedy Jr. from the party. He had to become an independent. That also happened because Biden did not allow them to call a primary. Primaries is usually what leads to the next step. But he imposed this woman, which is anti-democracy. So, but they were demonizing Trump and calling him a demagogue, somebody that was going to kill democracy and all that. Whereas they are actually the ones who were killing democracy.
Now, let's talk about the Democratic Party, because if you look at a lot of the conversation and analysis from the Pan-African perspective, a lot of Pan-African politicians are saying that, well, Americans have rejected a 4th Obama term, by proxy. Now, having said that, on the other side, there are Africans who are devastated, heartbroken, almost crying more than the bereaved about this loss of the Democrats at the polls. Why do you think some Africans and African leaders have such a love affair and romance with the Democratic Party when you look at the president that, for example, Obama sent just by what happened in Libya, for example? He was at the helm of affairs when Colonel Muammar Gaddafi was killed, and it was a bragging right. And of course, we know that Libya crisis has played a huge role in creating the insecurity that we see here in Nigeria today. So why is it that Nigerians seem to love this Obama legacy manifesting through Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party so much?
It's the same thing that has just happened with Kamala. The black women just gravitated towards her because they have the same skin color and they have the same gender. That's the same feeling we felt triumphant when Obama came to power, that the black man has eventually come to power. It was like a Daniel has come to judgment. But unfortunately, that was not the case. Obama did not do anything for Africa, as you just said. He barely visited his home country, Kenya, never came to Nigeria, went to Ghana and created a problem in Libya, that, as you said, we are suffering from right now. So the blacks generally, and if you notice in the US, majority of blacks voted for her, actually. Even black men, that we thought would not, because of what she did to black men when she was the Attorney General of California. But the blacks, it's a bias that we tend to exhibit, that my brother is there, my sister is there. or it's a triumphant time for the black who have been oppressed for a very long time as slaves and everything to be in the White House. So it's just the mental thing about it. It's not that it translates into something concrete, as far as I'm concerned, because Obama didn't do anything. And I can assure you that Kamala wouldn't have done anything for Africa because she distanced herself from blacks, probably as a fallout of the fact that her father, who's a Jamaican, abandoned she and her mom and her sister when they were kids, and she probably harbors a grudge and angst, and anybody who has same color as the man was good to be jailed. She was probably showing transferred aggression. Probably.
That's not empirical, sir. Real quickly, you also said something I'd like to challenge empirically. You made an assertion that they've pushed out RFK, and he now became an independent because they didn't have primaries. I'm like, RFK was already running as an independent as the election started before you even had Kamala emerge. So you made that assertion, I think is empirically not true. But I want to also ask you this. You sit here, I can see your picture with Trump, which is good, as a globalist. But you are talking to somebody, or you are supporting somebody that has an anti-globalist mindset. And historically, this is not the first time America is going to have something like this. If you go back to the 1930s, you had something like this even during the Civil War, where the big enemies then were the Jewish bankers, which were the nativists. And this America First Trump shout is not today, it's been in the 1930s. So you're supporting somebody that wants to be nativist, very hard right, anti-immigration, as it were. This same America that was developed by immigrant economy. You're also supporting somebody that virtually will never really do anything that much for the African continent. Because when you look at it, it's going to be based on trade basis. In fact, I was just seeing a story this morning in the newspaper that was talking about the fact that Afreximbank has now employed some lobbyists to start lobbying the American government down for the renewal of AGOA. That's how scared people are.
No, they're not scared. That's what happens all over the world.
Really?
Ruben will probably tell you. That's people. You engage consultants. Washington is full of consultants, consulting for everything. And that's why you keep hearing different people who want to come into power. They want to, drain the swamp in Washington. They want to change
What
things.
swamp in Washington?
The swamp in Washington is the traditional, old-style politicking.
What's the traditional old-style politicking?
What you are just speaking about, that you are romanticizing. That's what it is.
What is it?
You know what it is.
I don't know what it is. I'm just asking you, what is it?
Descend into that.
No,
I'm just
but what is
explaining
it?
to you
What's the swamp?
The old-style politics that you are romanticizing, going the same way that the founders of America have been going through since it was founded. And like I said, I started by referencing Francis Fukuyama, who wrote about eventual...
The end of history.
Exactly.
But, which was proven wrong in the end.
He wrote about
In
political
92.
political decay and politicking. It was written in 2014, 2 years before Trump came to power. And he talked about a new order. And that new order is what Trump represents, as far as I'm concerned. That's what he's bringing. He has been in politics for only 10 years, just a decade. And the traditional people are not comfortable.
No, longer than that.
Yes,
no, I disagree. Longer than that. Longer than that.
I'm not going to be
Go and
bogged
check his
down
political
by those
affiliation.
arguments.
Longer than that.
He came into politics in the past 1 decade. Anybody can Google it. There's no need to be dragged down with it. I don't want to be pedantic. I just want to go ahead and deal with the issues. So he came in the past 1 decade. He's somehow like Reagan, if you recall. Reagan came in as a 2-time governor of California, and he became the president. Traditional people don't like new people entering their business and taking over, so they resist change. I'll give you a simple example. I don't know if it's proper to say so. Like in the UK, for instance, the monarchy has a tradition, and they want to conform with it. Of course, you're aware of the conspiracy theory that because somebody like Diana went out of order, she had to suffer the consequences that she did, and stuff like that. And there's also a theory, that the Prince Harry had to, leave the UK with his wife to the US because he also went out of order. He married a black woman. Those are conspiracies and stuff like that. So
no, I asked you about
an
anti-globalist, and you being in a globalist world, and the fact that it's not going to trickle down to Africa. Those are the questions I ask you. Do your analysis on that? Yes.
Okay, so the distraction was there. So I had to explain the other aspect of it. Trump is a globalist. You cannot say Trump is anti-globalist because Trump does not believe in illegal immigrants. Does not mean he's not a globalist.
And the tariffs?
As a matter of fact, he did mention it when he first made his announcement. He defined it, and it was a my article. Prayer. I sent all my articles to Ruben. Since Monday, I had already written that he was going to win. In fact, I said 45th president becoming the 47th president.
But what about the tariffs and the fight with China and some other countries? That's anti-globalism.
No, that's not true.
Really? What is it?
The U.S.
With tariffs cutting everybody out and being nationalists and protectionists?
The U.S. has been fighting Japan and the rest with tariffs with regards to iron, and stuff like that. Tariff fight has been going on for a very long time.
Honorable Agbonyima is with us in Abuja. We would like to go to him. But while we go to Agbonyima, these polls, the polls were so definite about how the election would turn out. The polls have been proven wrong. And you have background in journalism. It looks like even journalists missed it. The media played a funny role in this election, about disinformation and all that. Maybe when we come back, you talk about the polls and the media.
Okay,
but Honorable Agbonyima, thank you for joining us. Good morning. Well,
thank you very much, Dr. Abati. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, quickly, your take on the American election. There have been all kinds of conspiracy theories coming up. I've read a story. Some people say America is not ready for a female president. I've also read that it was a choice between God and evil, that it was because Kamala Harris rejected Jesus Christ. That was why she lost the election. But in your view, what went wrong? What was done right?
Well, thank you, Dr. Abati. It goes beyond that because I think many Americans are more enlightened, more wiser, more smarter, more political savvy. So many years, some of us have always played to the gallery. For me, I have always voted for Democrat. But this time, I needed to have a change of heart, change of mind. Haven't seen a lot that has been going on, talking about the bilateral relationship between Nigeria and the United States. I've been able to look to see that something is wrong somewhere. We shouldn't look at it as if, because she's black, my sister, my brother. If your sister is not doing well, there's no reason to support your sister or your brother. I think we must look at capacity and look at those who can lead, not just because can smile, just to deceive people, to make people feel that they are really for you when they are not for you. Look at former President Obama. We as African, Nigerian, American, we all came out en masse to support and give him support. He never cared about African, even blacks, or even Nigeria. He was there for how many years? 8 years in office, never visited Nigeria one day. Biden, President Biden, has been in office now, almost 4 years to go, never visited Nigeria, even the Vice President, Kamala Harris, who I would have thought would have said, okay, let's visit Nigeria. Rather, what they do, they send their Secretary of State to visit Nigeria. Nigeria is not a second-class country. At least, we should respect one another. I don't think that Mr. President Tinubu will send the secretary to go and visit American president and they will receive him wholeheartedly. And this game and these politics we are playing, politics is about interest and it's about doing the needful for the people, putting the people first. It's not about your selfish interest. What I have seen in Kamala Harris is that she was not truthful. And apart from that, like Dr. Abati rightly said, the media, the mainstream media also played a very bad role. And I call them corrupt network news. They wanted to just to destroy Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not somebody that you say that he's that bad. Nobody is perfect. There's no perfection in humanity. Dr. Abati or Rufai, my brother, none of us is perfect, but we have to look at somebody that we believe that can move America and bring peace to the world. That is one of the reasons why I am standing for, I stood for Donald Trump, why I voted for him. And because, let's come back home now. At a time, Nigeria, we were going through a lot in the area of insurgency, Boko Haram, that were terrorizing everywhere, terrorist group. Nigerian government were trying to, purchase arms from America. Obama refused. The Leahy Law at the United States Congress that was passed there, for him, I would have thought as an African American, he refused to support Nigerian government, to support, at least to help to say, okay, if we cannot, why stopping Nigeria for trying to acquire arms from other part of the world? But guess what? When Donald Trump came in, I could remember when I was the chairman of U.S.-Nigeria Parliamentary Relations in the House of Reps there. I know the role that we, in our little way, we played. We visited America, met with some of the congressmen and women, Foreign Affairs Committee, with the then, Speaker of the House, Dugara. Now, all these are there. So I'm not just going to say because you are black, I must vote for you. If you have the quality, the capacity, that you are really there to look for all of us, not about black, red, white, or yellow. When I went to America, I'll tell you, those that really gave me a helping hand were white. And I lived there for almost 31 years. My family are still there. And look, we formed Nigerian American Democratic Alliance many years ago, as far back 1987, that I supported Democrat. Up to, when I supported George W. Bush, because of the way I'd gone at it, because he betrayed, Bill Clinton. For me, if you ask me, the first African president that ever governed America, I would tell you is Mr. Bill Clinton, because he was there for African, blacks, white. He visited Nigeria when he was president. Even after he left presidency, he came to Nigeria. George Bush did the same thing. When he was president, he visited Nigeria. When he left presidency, he still has visited Nigeria on many occasions. But tell me, Obama that we thought is an African, yes. Does he care about you? Does he care about me? No. He was trying to bring Kalamahari through the back door. I would say no. A lot of people were accusing me, insulting me, but I want to thank God. All the abuses and the insult that I got, it has turned to blessing. Just like when I was supporting my brother, distinguished Senator Mode Okpewolo, governor of Edo State elect, people castigated me. But to the glory of God, today I'll be vindicated. That is what is life. Life is very simple. We have to do everything humanly possible to live together.
Honorable, okay, let's come back to the studio in Lagos. Well, Magnus, I'd ask you about the polls. Because even after that debate at NIA, you were still sending me polls results and then the role of the media.
Yeah. Okay, the polls, we're all human. And there are certain biases that we exhibit, recency bias, and stuff like that. So, we're not exactly correct all the time, even if we use AI these days. But the point about Africa, baying for the blood of Trump, so to speak, is the fact that the information coming to Africa was, skewed against Trump, because we all listen to CNN and not the other stations, MSNBC, apart from Fox, that also tend to lean towards the Republican Party. So the polls we were watching, were not exactly unbiased. They were not exactly unbiased. We saw them. In my article, I complained against CNN, that CNN was biased, even if they had to observe the rules in America that there has to be a balance from both sides, and stuff like that. They were clearly biased. They were fact-checking Trump's people and Trump every time, and they were not doing the same for Kamala, And there's also this thing about continuity. So people thought, that with the power of incumbency and with the power that the ex-presidents brought in, the celebrities, and everything would make a difference. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and the polls were picking those biases. But one thing that people never realized, and which I've been emphasizing, is that Trump had been out of power for 4 years, but he maintained his base. If you remember, the prof railed against me when I said that Trump still controls 50% of the U.S. vote. Exactly. And he came in and said, that Trump controlled 46. And I said, what's the difference? And I actually said, roughly. So what Trump just did was he added to his original base from the facts available now. And so he maintained that group of people that were following him because his policies, his points resonated with them. People in the rural areas, as you pointed out, they have their bias. So those biases are not caught by the pollsters. They keep it in their breast pocket. When you come to them and ask them, are you going to vote for Kamala Harris? Because they are women, because they are white, and because they are supremacists, so to speak, they will not display their feeling on the sleeves of their jacket. So there were a lot of silent people who were going to go into the polling place and vote for Trump, but outwardly you would think that they're going to vote for Kamala Harris. So that's how the point was missed, because a lot of people really, whether we like it or not, are still not favorably disposed to blacks, whatever, especially the white folks. Let's not beat around the bush, Yes, so yes.
Yeah.
Let's bring the conversation home. How, amidst all the pessimism, how is a Trump presidency going to benefit Nigeria? Already in his acceptance speech yesterday, well, not victory speech rather, he said, drill, baby, drill. So we know that, a huge focus on oil output most likely will mean oil prices will come down bad for Nigeria. The dollar has already strengthened since it looked highly likely that he would win. A strong dollar, bad for Nigeria. AGOA, very likely to be repealed. Maybe if we're lucky, it might still get reinstated in 2025. But again, no access to duty-free markets, bad for Nigeria. So I'd like you to, enlighten us as to how a Trump presidency is good for Nigeria.
Okay. A lot of people tend to think that Trump is anti-Africa, especially based on one popular quote that he says.
He calls us shithole.
He actually didn't. That's just.
He didn't call us shithole?
He didn't.
Really?
He didn't.
But
really?
Magnus,
No proof to that.
Are you kidding me?
Okay.
He didn't call us shithole country.
Apart from that statement,
to viewers and not to you. So don't personalize it about you.
My word.
apart from that statement,
Yes.
I've just outlined 3 significant developments. So, I don't want to focus on that. I'd like to focus on the dollar has strengthened.
Yes.
Oil output will increase.
Yes.
AGOA.
Yes.
And these are negative for Africa. So
Trump is a businessman. If you recall, and this can be confirmed by Dr. Abati. When Obama didn't allow us to get the equipment from the West to fight the issues that we have in Nigeria, it was Trump that gave the approval, and Nigeria paid about $500 million. So to the point I'm trying to make is that Trump is a businessman. Wherever the business is, he will go, right? So Africa is a new frontier. So Trump is going to do business with Nigeria. Trump is well aware of Nigeria. Trump knows people in Nigeria. As for AGOA, are we really benefiting from AGOA? Think about it. Go beyond the headlines.
well, it employs 20,000 people in South Africa directly.
Yes. I'm just speaking about Nigeria now.
Okay.
AGOA was taken advantage of by Asian countries that came to set up businesses in African countries from where they were exporting to the US tariff-free, right? So we Africans, most of us in Africa didn't really take advantage of it, apart from Kenya, from South Africa, and stuff. Nigeria really didn't benefit from it. I don't have any record to show that Nigerians are exporting yam to the United States of America in any significant quantity or any other thing, and stuff like that. So AGOA, may be good, but AGOA can be enhanced. AGOA can become AGOA 2.0. Like I said, Trump is a businessman. The reason he wants to raise tariff against China and the rest that he talked about is because he wants to boost trade in the United States of America. Okay? He wants to boost trade in the United States of America, and that's why he's doing that. So he is pro-trade. He's pro-trade. He has not rolled out his policies completely for Africa for us to see how Africa is going to benefit. But we're going to engage him. We're involved with him. We were involved in his campaign. We know that he has favorable disposition towards Africa. And particularly, he knows about Nigeria. He knows our resources. Who says that Trump will not build Trump Towers in Abuja, for instance?
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
Who says, whatever, So who says that Trump cannot promote other aspects of business? Like I said, Africa is the new frontier. And of course, you're aware, the United States of America, like I mentioned in that event that we attended, is building the biggest embassy in Nigeria at Eko Atlantic City. And embassy promotes trade. So Nigeria will benefit, Africa will benefit.
Okay, real quickly, I'd like to come in here. Anyway, what you said was factually incorrect again, because it was massively reported across board all over the world. That he called Africa Haitians shithole country when the conversation on Dakar was on. I want to go back to the case of Central Park 5, because you keep on insisting Trump has not been in president only 10 years. He had been in political commentary, hedging himself, setting himself up for a president for all this while. The case of Central Park 5, where he took out a page in the newspaper and wrote a scathing article, and he called for the death penalty for people that had not been convicted yet. And it was seen in the end that these people were actually not the ones that perpetrated that Central Park 5 act, and they were released in the end. In fact, I think those guys even have lawsuits against them. I mean, what would you say about that for race relations?
Political commentary is different from being a politician. So there are two different things. He became a politician less than a decade ago. The records are there. I don't want to begin to contest all that. Everybody can make political commentary. Ruben Abati does. I do, whatever, and stuff like that. So being a political commentator does not make you a politician. So, but he became politician. He became a politician 10 years ago. Now, about...
The Central Park 5.
That's where I'm going. It's not only Trump that has made mistakes. As a matter of fact, Trump actually alleged that Obama wasn't born in America, right? Until it was proven that Obama was born in America. So it's all part of rhetorics. It's all part of politics.
For something that will have killed people?
Trump, people...
It's all part of rhetoric, or something that will have actually taken the lives of people?
People have died because of wrong commentary. People have alluded to something that created riots. People had made comments that did not sit well or got misinterpreted by other people, and it resulted in terrible things. What led to the First World War, Doc here will acknowledge, was a misspeak, and stuff like that. So these are extremities. Those are intangible things,
But it was deliberate because they were black people.
It was not deliberate. That's
because
the point I'm trying to make. No, it's not true. It could have been any race.
So that also shows, no, hang on a minute.
Trump says the same thing against Mexicans on a daily basis. Trump says the same thing,
racist.
But it's not racist. You're just being narrow-minded.
I'm not being narrow-minded. I'm being broad-minded.
No.
Here. And let's all stay. Yes. I know you have your own tunnel Trump support mindset. It's good. You have a right to support anybody. It's a democracy. But we're just stating the empirical facts on ground. This man took a page of a notable newspaper, cost him about $100,000, a global newspaper, to make a case why the death penalty should be brought back, and people that are not even being indicted in the case should be killed in a jogging mugging, the Central Park 5, which is there.
Nobody is contesting that. That's not being contested. I'm just saying that, Trump is amongst many people who have made such mistakes, who have made allegations that have created problems. So that, Trump did that or did it. Even Kamala Harris did worse. When she was Attorney General in the state of California, where, in that state, she was jailing black people. It's on record. So people make mistakes.
Without crimes? Was she just jailing black people without crimes?
How can she jail people without crimes? That's petty now.
Let's bring in
Honorable Agboima. It was interesting to hear you say you lived in the U.S. for 31 years, and you said, I always voted Democrats. So did you vote in this election too, from mailbox, mailing votes from Nigeria here?
Dr. Abati, I thought you have forgotten me here. I'll be standing here waiting. I thought I'm part of the program. Well, to answer your question, yes, I voted for Donald Trump. Okay. And I did. And I was happy and I'm proud that I voted for Donald Trump.
Okay, but
with a lot of my supporters, our friends, our brothers and sisters. Yes, we did.
But what do you think Trump's second coming will mean for Africa and for the rest of the world? Just broad assessment of what Trump 2.0 will look like.
Truly, let me say that as a Nigerian and also as Nigerian American, I will look for the best for my country, Nigeria. I think charity begins at home. Everybody is saying, what does Trump have for Africa or Nigeria? We need to build our own institution. We need to build our home base, to build the people. Yes, Donald Trump won the election based on capacity building. A lot of people might not understand that he means well. I've had the opportunity to interact with him. Some said he's a racist, and that is not true. It's not fatwa. Because sometimes people want to give a dog a bad name. And a lot of the mainstream media, I'm happy that you all raised the issue. Some of the media outlets, maybe they should just decide to say that they are politicians. They are no longer journalists. What happened on the issue of Donald Trump, I think would teach a lot of, media outlets a big lesson. Because every day, from morning to night, it was about negativity, that he was bad, he's a bad guy. Donald Trump was the best for the whole world. As you can see, there's war all over the world, no rumor of war. If Donald Trump happened to have been the president by now, the war in Ukraine, the war Israel and Hamas and Gaza, between Russia and Ukraine, wouldn't have taken place at all. He have always preached, advocated for a peaceful coexistence. So it's about, try to bring everybody together. So if you are expecting that Mr. President Donald Trump being elected will be the one that will solve Nigeria's problem, Nigerians, we have to be ready to solve our problem. Yes, if we have any other thing we want to appeal to, request, maybe some weapon or other issue, having a good bilateral relationship, all these are all welcome. But we must put our house in order. We must come together. Nigeria must come together to build a better Nigeria. One man, Mr. President Tinubu, cannot build Nigeria alone. It's going to require collective effort of every patriotic Nigerian to build a better nation, a better Nigeria. So Donald Trump is going to be focused on building America first, because America has been bastardized. I just came not too long ago. I was sad to see homeless everywhere in the United States. In the meantime, billions of dollars have been expended supporting war that doesn't make sense, to the detriment of American taxpayers that have been languishing, that have been homeless without taking care of their home. That's what Donald Trump is saying, that America first. And I want to thank the Christian community, the clergymen and women, especially the Evangelical Council Advisory, that came out to say enough is enough. Donald Trump means well for Africa, means well for the whole world, means well for America. So let us not try to bastardize and try to giving people bad name, mischief makers, try to script out the wrong information, wrong perception about a person that is never such, that you want to paint that person black when it's not black, rather it's white. So,
well,
Dr. Abati, I'm happy you are talking about it. Yes. So I want to say that Donald Trump will come and he will do the necessary because of the failure of Obama, Biden, and Kamala Harris. Their failure is what brought us to where we are. Whatever affected America, affected Nigeria. So I am praying, I'm hoping that American will now understand that God has come. God has brought Donald Trump to rescue because we have missed the A-ball. We have abandoned morality, family value, where children are being taught in school. Children of 5 years being taught in school. Whether to be a female or male, you don't need their parent consent. This is immoral.
On that note, we'd like to thank you very much, Honorable Agbonyema, for joining us on the morning show. And thank you also, Magnus Onyibe. Very interesting subject. The conversation continues.